You're sitting in your room late at night. You're replaying that conversation, wondering if you said the wrong thing, rewriting a moment from 3 weeks ago, or maybe even trying to fix a version of yourself that only exists in your head. Sound familiar? We live in a time where everything feels like it needs improvement. Your habits, your thoughts, your feelings, your path, your past. We're constantly tuning, adjusting, obsessing. But no one told us that maybe the reason nothing feels aligned is because we're overworking the puzzle. You weren't meant to fix everything. And not because things are hopeless, but because they never needed fixing in the first place. The truth is, real transformation rarely looks like constant effort. It's not about forcing clarity, chasing validation, or endlessly solving problems that only exist in our minds. It's more like letting the pieces fall into place on their own. When you stop rearranging them out of fear, when you stop fixing, things start unfolding. You know what's wild? Some of the best moments in your life didn't come because you planned them perfectly. They arrived when you finally stepped back, when you stopped obsessing, when you loosened your grip on how you thought things should be, and let life show you what it actually had in store. That person you randomly met who changed your entire perspective. That opportunity that showed up after you gave up trying to force one. That answer that came to you only after you stopped asking so hard. But we forget this. We convince ourselves that control equals progress, that the more we micromanage every emotion, every outcome, every step of the journey, the more likely things will work in our favor. But what we're really doing is blocking the flow. Imagine trying to clear a river by squeezing it. You don't help the water move, you just create pressure, resistance, chaos. The same thing happens inside of us. Sometimes the answer isn't doing more. It's getting still. It's allowing space, it's letting silence speak before we interrupt it with noise. Because when you stop fixing, you start feeling. And when you start feeling, you can finally hear what's real, not what fear is screaming at you to control. Let's get honest for a second. We all crave clarity. We want to know what's next, when it's coming, and how it'll unfold. We chase it like it's the key to peace. But ironically, the more we demand clarity, the blurrier things become. Have you noticed that? You overthink, overanalyze, and start interpreting silence as failure. You replay conversations, obsess over timelines, compare your progress to someone else's highlight reel. And just like that, you're not living your life. You're managing it like a crisis. But here's something worth thinking about. Maybe things haven't clicked yet because you're holding too tightly to the version of life you think is best. And maybe, just maybe, life's waiting on you to let go, so it can actually show you something better. Letting go doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're choosing not to carry what was never yours to control in the first place. It's not passive, it's powerful. Because the second you stop fighting every detail, you create room for peace, for progress, and for possibilities you couldn't even imagine when you were too busy trying to force the story. Real growth doesn't always scream. Sometimes it arrives in stillness, in those quiet shifts where your need to control fades, and your trust in life takes its place. The truth is, control feels safe. It gives us the illusion that we're protecting ourselves from chaos, heartbreak, or failure. And for a while, it works until it doesn't. Because when your entire emotional state depends on things going a specific way, you're not free. You're in a cage you built yourself. And here's the kicker. That cage is built with expectations. Tiny invisible bars that say, it has to happen like this, at this time, with this outcome, or I won't be okay. Let that sink in. You're not just managing situations, you're managing your emotions through situations. And that creates this constant background tension in your life. Even when everything looks fine on the surface, you feel uneasy, like something's just a little off. And that off feeling, that's your body telling you it's tired of gripping so tightly. You don't need to micromanage every step. The universe, God, life, whatever you want to call it, has a rhythm, and that rhythm doesn't respond to force. It responds to flow. It responds to presence. It responds when you finally stop screaming, I need answers, long enough to hear what life has been trying to tell you. The people who experience peace, real peace, aren't the ones who have it all figured out. They're the ones who've stopped needing to. They've made peace with the unknown. They've accepted that sometimes you don't get to skip the confusion. Sometimes confusion is the classroom, and the only way through it is to let go. Not as an act of surrender and weakness, but surrender and strength. It takes courage to stop running the mental marathon, to stop tightening your grip on what hasn't happened yet, to trust that even the silence is sacred. And here's the beautiful part. When you finally release your need to control, life doesn't fall apart. It falls into place. The right people start showing up. The right answers begin to land. Not all at once, but gradually and naturally. Because you've finally stopped blocking the flow. And in that space, in that openness, everything starts moving in the direction it was always meant to. There's something powerful that happens when you stop needing things to unfold exactly how you imagined. You stop resisting reality. And that resistance, that's what drains most people. Not the event itself, but the emotional war they're fighting in their minds over how it should have gone. Think about it. Someone doesn't text you back, and you spiral. You don't hit your goal on time, and suddenly your self-worth is questioned. A door closes, and you take it personally. But what if none of that actually meant what you think it does? What if life isn't trying to punish you, but redirect you? We forget this all the time. Outcomes are not the final judge of our worth, but the ego makes them feel that way. It says, if you don't get what you want, it's your fault. You failed. But the truth is, you can give your all, show up fully, and still not get the result you expected. And that's not failure. That's redirection. And here's the part most people miss. Sometimes not getting what you want is the answer. That relationship that didn't work out, maybe it was protecting you from stagnation, that opportunity you missed. Maybe it was making room for something far more aligned. That delay, it might be building your patience for something much bigger than your timeline can grasp right now. When you release the need to force outcomes, something unexpected happens. You get your power back. Not the kind of power that manipulates or controls, but the kind of power that trusts, that rests, that knows, if it's meant for me, it won't miss me. And that kind of energy is magnetic. People feel it. You're no longer tense, reactive, desperate. You're calm, grounded, open. And because of that shift, things begin to rearrange. Opportunities arrive without you chasing. Relationships deepen without you overthinking. Even your inner peace stabilizes. Not because life became easier, but because you stopped making it harder. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means giving in to trust, to timing, to the idea that life knows more than your plans. So instead of clinging, allow. Instead of controlling, participate. And instead of needing it all now, give it room to arrive when you're actually ready for it. Because sometimes you're not waiting on the thing. The thing is waiting on you to stop resisting it. There's a strange paradox to letting go that most people miss. The less tightly you hold on to something, the more naturally it moves toward you. It's not magic. It's not law of attraction fluff. It's how human behavior actually works. Think about it. When someone's clinging to you, texting nonstop, obsessing over your every move, do you feel drawn to them? Or do you feel overwhelmed, pressured, maybe even repelled? That's exactly what your goals, relationships, peace of mind, even your identity, feel when you hold on too tightly. Needing something too much turns your energy desperate. And desperation, even when hidden beneath politeness or productivity, leaks through everything you do. It shows up in your tone, in your timing, in how you speak, how you listen, how you move through the world. People can feel it. But when you stop needing everything to happen right now, when you stop trying to micromanage every outcome, something changes in the room. Your energy softens. You're no longer auditioning for life. You're participating in it. And that's when the world begins to respond differently to you. You begin to take more aligned actions, not out of fear, but clarity. You don't force conversations. You flow into them. You don't chase answers. You sit with questions until the right answer meets you where you are. It's in that state of non-attachment that things begin to unlock. Your creativity flows better. Your confidence stabilizes. You stop panicking over delays and start reading them like signs, not because you stopped caring, but because you stopped over-controlling. Here's the real kicker. Letting go doesn't mean letting life drift by. It means engaging from a place of presence, not panic. You still care, you still dream, you still move forward, but you do it without dragging anxiety along with you, without needing constant validation that you're on the right path, without checking your results every 5 minutes to feel worthy. This creates space, mental, emotional, spiritual, and space is where alignment has room to enter. So if things have felt blocked lately, maybe it's not because you're not trying hard enough. Maybe it's because you're holding on too tightly to how things have to go. And life's waiting for you to loosen your grip. If you look closely at how some of the most remarkable moments in history unfolded, you'll notice they often happened precisely when someone stopped clinging to how things were supposed to be. Artists, inventors, and visionaries, people we admire today, often broke through the moment they finally let go. Leonardo da Vinci spent years obsessing over perfection, agonizing over every line and shade. It was only when he stepped back, giving himself permission to experiment freely, that he created masterpieces. Letting go doesn't just apply to art or big dreams. It applies to your everyday life. How many times have you noticed that the harder you try to solve a complicated problem, the more elusive the solution becomes? Then suddenly you give up for a minute, go for a walk, take a shower, just step away, and the solution magically pops into your mind. Why does this happen? Because our brains aren't built to function optimally under pressure and tight control. Stress narrows your focus, blocking creativity and limiting your ability to see the bigger picture. When you let go, your mind enters what psychologists call the default mode network, a state where creativity thrives, problem solving improves, and the dots finally connect. And here's the fascinating thing. People instinctively trust those who trust life. They gravitate towards those who seem calm amid uncertainty. You've seen this countless times. Someone walks into a meeting, calm and relaxed, effortlessly commands attention and respect. It's not because they're smarter or better prepared. It's because their presence communicates something subtle yet powerful. I trust myself. I trust life. Letting go isn't passive surrender. It's a conscious choice to accept uncertainty, to stop demanding immediate results, and instead allow life to unfold naturally, in its own perfect rhythm. It's about understanding you don't always need to know the next 10 steps. You just need to be fully present with the step you're currently taking. Consider the relationships you most value. They're not the ones built on control or anxiety. The relationships that deeply nourish you are the ones built on mutual trust and the freedom to grow independently while staying connected. Similarly, your relationship with life itself needs space, trust, and openness to flourish. This isn't easy. Our modern world conditions us to believe that control equals success. We have calendars packed to the minute, meticulously planned days, and constant multitasking. But ask yourself, is your life truly enriched by this frantic energy? Or does it leave you exhausted, feeling perpetually behind, never quite satisfied? Letting go invites you to pause, breathe, and acknowledge that some of life's greatest breakthroughs happen when you stop trying to force them. When you relinquish your grip, you make room for the unexpected. You allow the universe to surprise you in beautiful ways you couldn't have scripted yourself. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. How to practically embrace letting go, so life begins to unfold in ways you've always imagined. And maybe the biggest shift happens not when you add more to your life, but when you release what never truly belonged. Control often masks fear. Fear of the unknown, of failure, of being hurt, of being seen. But when you drop that fear, even just a little, life begins to breathe with you. It starts to move with your rhythm instead of against it. You're no longer fighting the current, you're flowing with it. You trust that what's meant for you will find you, not through stress, but through alignment. You realize that letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means giving into something wiser than control. It means stepping out of the way so life can finally meet you halfway. If there's one message to take from this, it's this. Life responds better to openness than resistance. Sometimes your biggest breakthroughs arrive the moment you stop chasing, stop gripping, and start allowing. So here's a challenge for you. If this resonated even slightly, drop the word flow in the comments. Let it be a reminder, not to force, not to chase, but to trust the moment more than the outcome. And if you're ready to keep growing with videos like this, you know what to do. Subscribe and stay on the path with us. Your shift starts now.